Friends, what y'all doing? Okay, because I was wondering, did you want to hear a quick story time about how they lied? You do? I thought so. So friends, real quick, on today's episode of They Lied, baby, we got to get into some things. Now, I know I talked about this some time ago. We discussed it, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper because I done downloaded Google Earth, baby. I done did my research. I done did my due diligence, and I'm coming to tell you because I could not believe what I found out. Okay? Petrified giants. You remember we said, are the mountains sleeping giants? Where are they? You never know. You never know. Now, when I tell y'all this thing got me up in the tizzy, it sent me over the moon, honey. I was thinking to myself, now, ain't no way that everything they told us was a lie. And you know, sometimes things can look like a duck, walk like a duck, but bark like a dog. And baby, I'm going to tell you one thing about it. If a duck don't quack, it's going to bark. What I'm saying is, things are not always as they seem, right? It's not always as they told us. And you know, they done told us many things about the history of human beings and giants. And it's always something like, there's no such thing as giants. There have been some tall people, but no giants. But there's so much evidence out there to prove that there is. Now, we know allegedly the Smithsonian Museum has been covering up giant bodies for a long time. That's what they tell me. Now, I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true. I'll let y'all be the judge of that, friends. But I kind of feel like, what is it that y'all hiding? Why can't we know? So back in the day, I watched this documentary called There Are No More Forests, or There Are No More Trees, or something like that. And you could barely find it today. You have to really like dig. And basically it was talking about how all of the trees are gone. Not the trees that we see, because the trees that we have today are like little twigs and bushes and, you know, shrubs compared to the trees of old, right? We're talking about these mountains that look like plateaus, right? The plateau mountains that's flat across the top. They look like tree stumps. Was Avatar on to something? I kind of feel like they was. I feel like they hide the truth in plain sight all the time. Which I think. So let's talk about that, because I did some research for y'all. If there were giants back then, would one think that we would need giant trees to give off enough oxygen to supply said giants with oxygen? And we all know that they talk about during the dinosaur times, the mosquitoes and everything was so much bigger and all because it was so much more oxygen. Where was this oxygen coming from? Now, they say it come from the rocks. They said the rocks was absorbing stuff and letting off CO2s and all. They said it was coming from all these different things, but what if it was just coming from extremely large trees? Do y'all realize how big the planet is? No, you don't. We can't. We don't. I don't. The planet is huge on a massive scale and is mostly covered in water. So it would take nothing to supply these trees with the water they need to survive. Let's keep going. Now, when we think back to this time, I think trees were gargantuan, gigantic, humongous, ginormous, like beyond what you can even think of when you look at these mountaintops. But I went on Google Earth and there was a video. I'm going to put I can't even think of the person's name right now. I feel so bad that I can't credit him, but I saw this video some time ago and I said, well, let me just go look for myself because I don't just want to take people's word for it. Let me just go see for myself. You know what I'm saying? And I went and looked in Madagascar. Come with me, friends. Come with me, friends, to Madagascar. And I'm going to show you proof or evidence that giant trees probably did exist at one point in time that would have sustained life for giant giant beings, okay? Giant human beings. Like when I say giant, I mean like huge, the size of a mountain, huge, okay? But we're going to look at Madagascar and look at these tree stumps. They're plateau mountains, right? Whatever you want to call them, shelf mountains, plateaus, whatever. But they look like tree stumps. Look, I'm going to zoom in so you can see. But the other thing about this that's crazy to me is that all around the tree stumps, it actually looks like leaves, like branches and leaves that have fallen and become petrified. Petrification happens to organic organisms. That was like too many, or I didn't have to say organic that many times, but it happens to organic things, right? Just like wood, all of it was once living, and then it becomes filled with minerals, and it becomes petrified over a long period of time. So it would make sense that if this was a tree stump, that it would be like stone now, like rock. If you ever seen a petrified wood, you would see that. So you look around it, you see these little etchings that look like leaves, that look like branches and fossils of leaves. Is it not strange or odd to you that it looks that way? Can we stop saying that everything is just a coincidence? What if it was actually a huge tree that was petrified in some type of cataclysmic event, right? Or something that happened. They say the dinosaurs was wiped out by a comet. What if it wasn't just large reptile type animals? What if it was humans too? Okay. What if? We don't know. So that leads me to my next point. When you're looking at these places like this, you see the plateau mountaintops. When you see the fossilized leaves, they look like leaves. They look like branches all laying around the same area with the mountaintops. You start asking yourself, now how you get plateau mountain ranges and, you know, peaks and valleys and stuff all in the same. You got this type of mountain, this type of mountain, all in the same together. What if this was a tree that was chopped down? When you look at all the Norse mythologies, Greek mythology, any type of mythology, you always hear a story about giants, titans, a great war in the beginning of time. They got the Tesla and they're fighting. They were throwing them things. Somebody had to lose. The destruction of man. Everybody want to control everything until they tear it all up. And then now everybody gone to glory. Everybody. The Bible even talks about giants. Right? Think about Noah's Ark. How much wood it would have took to build that? In any flood story, right? In any situation, things back then were so much larger. They lived for so much longer. There were so many situations where you hear about the Anunnaki in the beginning of times and them being mixed with gods. They said that each generation was a little bit weaker than the Anunnaki. Right? Who were strong, big, giant beings. I'm going to stick a picture in here so you can see the comparison of how tall they were compared to the humans. It's just so many different variations of the same story. Now, everybody ain't lying. Okay? So it's going to lead me to this point. If we go over to France, let's go to France. Come with me, friends. Let's go to France, baby. Let's go to Paris. No, it's not in Paris, but let's go to France. And we're going to look at the Fontainebleau Forest. Okay? Fontainebleau Forest, special place, y'all. I might have to get up out my seat for this because, whoo, y'all ain't gonna believe this. Y'all not gonna believe this. Look at this forest. I'm gonna put some pictures in here of the stone, the rock formation. And I want y'all to tell me that I ain't crazy. Why does this look like a face? Why are there so many stone formations, rock formations on the mountain faces that actually resemble human being faces? Now, I know there's some type of thing that, you know, when you see shapes and patterns and everything, like the one on Mars and all of that. Absolutely not. You're not going to trick me into believing that this is a coincidence once again. Everything ain't a coincidence, friends. Wake up your mind. Wake it up, friends, because it ain't a coincidence. Not to me, not in my opinion. Now, looking at all of these things, I say to myself, were the humans petrified? Did something happen and cause these things to be turned to stone? You see Medusa. Look at her, you turn to stone. It's so many different stories about people turning into other, I won't say organisms or stones or salt pillars, but it's things that happen on this planet that we cannot explain. And if it happened to the dinosaurs and it happened to trees, petrified wood, why can't it happen to humans? You know, there are salt flats. I was trying to compare the salt flats to, not Sodom and Gomorrah, but the salt flats to Lot's wife turning into salt. And I was trying to compare the stones to the petrified wood that we see. Now, furthermore, friends, that got me going down another rabbit hole where I found out some more things. Now, if something is petrified, it's going to be in the form that it was in, when it went on to glory, right? It doesn't decay. It turns into stone. I wasn't going to be a scientist, but I decided to let them do that, right? So I let them break that down. If y'all want to know how the process of petrification and all of that stuff, go look it up. Not putrefaction, but petrification. When something is petrified, when an organism is petrified. But it's going to be preserved as is, almost like a mummy, right? But then it's going to be smooth like stone, like marble, granite, that type of thing. Look at these rocks and tell me what they resemble to you. Now, I can't say it's wood because the petrified wood looks like this. But these stones, they look like meat. These stones come from mountain ranges. They come from rock. The rocks look like humans, and the inside of the rock looks like meat. Is that not strange to you, friends? Is that not odd to you? Now, let me just say this. I'm not saying that any of this is true. I just challenge y'all to think over here because everything they tell you is not true. A lot of what they tell us is theory, right? Or basically theory. Some of it is fact. Some of it can be proven. But you can't necessarily disprove that giants existed. You want to tell me you found the Brachiosaurus with a neck as tall as the darn tree outside, but humans wasn't that tall and big? Because we only stepped up on the scene a few million years ago, but at that time, we was our distant ancestor, relative that wasn't even a human yet, right? We're very primitive. No, ain't no way. So tell me what you think about that, friends. Does that not resemble meat? Do the rocks not resemble human faces, right? Do the size of the mountains, do they not resemble human faces? Does the mountains out in Madagascar not resemble tree stumps? And the mountains around it, do they not resemble leaves and branches like a tree? Don't we have evidence that the atmosphere was filled with so much oxygen during a certain point in the Earth's history that everything was a lot bigger? Do we not have evidence of dinosaurs that tell us dinosaur bones are real? They say they had necks 15 feet long and they was eating off the top of the trees, a brontosaurus, brachiosaurus, whatever it is. So why can't we believe that there's a possibility that there may have been giants? Are there not stories about titans? Are there not stories about giants? Are there not stories about these things happening, of things being petrified? Are there not stories about that? Friends, am I not hitting the nail on the head? I don't know, y'all. I'm just saying, I'm not saying any of this is true. I'm just asking y'all what y'all thinking. What are your thoughts? Because as I found this, I thought to myself, this is crazy. I'm going to have to call y'all immediately and let y'all know what was going on, child, because I couldn't just hold the information by myself. I couldn't hold on to it. Y'all know I can't keep no secret. I'll keep y'all secrets. But everything else, I'm running over here at breakneck speed to tell y'all.
Jail, right away. Jail. You right to jail.
Immediately. Right away. Well, friends, I'm not going to hold y'all up here on this call on this good, wonderful day that we're having. Make sure you like and subscribe and share the video if you want to. I can do this full time and give y'all content all the time, but you got to interact with the video, friends. It costs you nothing. I'm not asking for your money. I don't need your money. Not right now. Not right now. I'll let you know a little later on if I need to hold something till tomorrow. And I really hope that I didn't get y'all up in too much of a tease, and I'm going to call y'all back later on.